What's going on, and welcome to WSOU Sports Edition of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I'm Warner Lewis, the host of this game show, and I have my three contestants right here, Jorie Mickens, Justin Morris, and Heaven Hill. On this game show, I'll be asking each contestant 10 questions about the NBA and the Big East, and they will have to answer those 10 questions to the best of their ability. If they get it wrong, then they're out of the show. They do have 3 lifelines to help them get the right answer: 50-50, ask the audience, and second chance. And the contestant that has the most right answers will win this game show. Do we have a prize for this game show? I don't think we got a prize.
Bragging rights.
Bragging rights. They get to win some bragging rights. It should be a good show, so let's get started. So I'm here with my first contestant, Jorie Mickens. Jorie, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm pretty good, man. It's a good time. You know, who wants to be a millionaire? Even though we don't got the millionaire money, hey, bragging rights is worth more than money. Am I right?
Of course.
How much you know about the NBA?
Quite a bit. I'm pretty confident and I'll do well.
All right, NBA and the Big East. So we might as well just get started. Question number 1. What team won the last NBA Finals? Was it the Golden State Warriors, the Toronto Raptors, Los Angeles Lakers, or Cleveland Cavaliers?
I'll go Toronto Raptors. Final answer.
Final answer, and you're correct. There you go. See, was it that hard?
No, that was pretty easy.
All right, so jump straight to question number 2.
Why not? Let's do it.
Question number 2. What Big East player declared that he will be staying in the NBA draft? Was it LJ Figueroa, Mac McClung, Sadiq Bey, or Tyrese Samuel?
Sadiq Bey. Final answer.
Final answer, 2 for 2. There you go. We're getting there, 20%.
Yeah, we're making a way.
But now it's time to get a little bit harder now. You feel me? We gotta get a little bit harder. Question number 3. How many three-pointers has Shaquille O'Neal made in his career?
Oh, wow.
Your options are 0, 1, 7, or 31.
Oof. Dang.
Remember, you do have your lifelines.
Huh. Think. Yeah, I'll use the 50-50 lifeline.
50-50 lifeline, so that knocks out 2 of the responses, and you would have to only choose out of 2. So, for your 2 answers that you could choose from, 1 or 31?
I'm gonna go 1. I have to go with 1.
You're gonna go with number 1, and that is correct. 1 3-pointer that Shaq made in his career, and that was in 1996 against the Bucks. And he just heaved that one up at the end of a quarter, I believe, and made it for his only 3-pointer of the game. Can you imagine?
How about that?
Exactly. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
Message.
Question number 4. Who recorded the last 2020 game, 20 points and 20 rebounds in Big East play? Your choices: Angel Delgado, Jawan Blair, Chris McNeil, and Bobby Martin.
I'm gonna have to go with Angel Delgado.
Angel Delgado. He said that. Is that your final answer?
Yeah, that's my final
That's
answer.
your final answer. And this man, Jorie, is cooking, ladies and gentlemen. Got the 4th answer. 4th question right. Angel Delgado, 22 points and 20 rebounds versus St. John's in 2018.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting, pretty interesting. And getting into the halfway point. Question number 5. What is Ray Allen's actual first name? Is it Ray, Raymond, Michael, or Walter?
Ooh.
Again, you still have 2 more lifelines. You used the 50-50 one earlier.
You know, I'm pretty skeptical on this answer, but I don't know if I want to use a lifeline yet. But I'm gonna go with Walter. Final answer.
Final answer?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't back out of it because you did say it's your final answer, and you are correct. My goodness. Who would imagine Ray Allen?
Yeah.
His first name is actually Walter. This is madness. 5 questions in, and you got all 5 correct. Question number 6. How many players from the Big East has been drafted in the NBA since 1980?
That's tough. It's gonna be hard.
Your options: 156,
Ooh.
241, 330, or 401. Big East is a pretty good conference, but how many players actually got drafted from the conference? You do still have your lifelines.
Yeah, I might have to use a lifeline here. I'll use I'll use the Ask the Audience.
Use Ask the Audience. Now, so we are recording this, so we don't have that much of an audience, but we do have our other 2 contestants in the audience, Heaven Hill and Justin Morris. So we have our contestants, Heaven Hill and Justin Morris, in the audience. So Heaven, we're going to start with you. Jorie used his lifeline, Ask the Audience, and he is asking for help in this question. How many players from the Big East has been drafted since 1980? And your choices are 156, 241, 330, and 401.
Right now, I would have to say I'm leaning towards the first choice, 156. That just sounds right to me. 401 sounds absurd. That'd be like 10 players from the Big East getting drafted every year. It's not. I mean, that's. There's 60 players. That's. What do I know? I'm gonna say A. I'm gonna say A, 156.
So let's go back to our other audience member, Justin Morris. So Justin, Jorie is using his Ask the Audience lifeline for this question. How many players from the Big East have been drafted in the NBA since 1980? And your options: 156, 241, 330, and 401.
Yeah, that's a hard. Well, I'm gonna have to agree with Hev on the 401. I think that's far too many. That would be, like he said, 10 players every single year. But back in the day, the Big East was one of the premier conferences in basketball. If you think about Patrick Ewing and those fellas, so I'm gonna have to say, I know I can't say 2. I'm gonna be different than Heaven. I'm gonna say 201. That was the second one, right?
241, yes.
241. I'm gonna go 241.
So there you go. We asked the audience, and they got 2 choices, either 156 or 241.
You know, I like the point that Justin brought up, how the Big East used to be, pretty dominant conference. I think it still is. So I think I'll have to go with 241 as my final answer.
241, final answer. Jorie, you are correct.
Yes.
241. You only got 4 more questions to go, Jorie.
All right. Yeah, okay. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yes, you are. Question number 7. How many points did LeBron James score in his first NBA game? 17, 25, 27, or 31?
Oh, it's between 2 answers for me in my head, but I gotta think.
You do still have 1 lifeline, which it would be the second chance, where you can have 2 chances at answering the question. But do you want to use your lifeline now?
I think I gotta hold off. I think I gotta go with 25.
You're gonna go with
final answer.
Final answer.
Yeah.
25. LeBron James in his first NBA game. You are correct. He is heating up, ladies and gentlemen. Just a couple of more questions. Let's get into it. What player led the Big East in rebounding during the 2019-2020 season? Your choices are Tyreek Jones, Romaro Gill, Paul Reed, or Bryce Enzi?
Ooh, those are all great options.
It's a pretty good front court in the Big East over the past year.
I do remember Xavier's Tyreek Jones really giving us trouble, Seton Hall some trouble in that one game.
So you're repping the Seton Hall shirt.
Of course, we gotta go Pirates. But I think I'm gonna go with Tyreek Jones. He's just an animal on the board. So
You'll go with. Is that your final answer?
Final answer.
Mr. Mickens, you said that you felt like you knew a lot about the NBA and the Big East. And you do, as you got that answer correct. Tyreek Jones led the Big East with 11.1 rebounds per game. Like you said, a pretty good Big East conference, but Tyreek Jones just above everybody else. Two more questions. Two more.
I'm getting nervous now.
Question number 9 out of 10. Question number 9. What team in the Big East had the most blocks in a game in the 2019-2020 season? Was it Villanova, Georgetown, Xavier, or Seton Hall?
With our big man, or the Seton Hall's big man last year, Romaro Gill, one of the best shot blockers in the entire country. I think it's got to be Seton Hall. I'm sure they had one game, just crazy totals in the block category. So I think Seton Hall. Final answer.
Is that your final answer? You're really trying to get the Seton Hall pride on right now.
Of course.
And you said a great front court with Seton Hall. And that's the correct answer. Seton Hall had the most blocks in a game with 15 against Maryland. That defensive game that Seton Hall played really helped them out because of their blocks. Mr. Mickens, you're at the final question.
Oh, man.
I didn't think you would get this far, I must say. But you are at the final question. Question number 10. What team won the very first NBA game?
Ooh.
The very first one. Your options. The Detroit Falcons, the Boston Celtics,
Okay.
the New York Knicks, and the Pittsburgh Ironmen.
Well, I think off the bat, I gotta use my lifeline. My last lifeline. I have a little bit of insurance here, so if I do get it wrong,
As you started second chance lifeline, you get 2 chances to answer this question.
I think my thought process. I don't know how old the Knicks franchise is. I don't know how old or when they, were founded. So I think I gotta eliminate the New York Knicks because I don't think they were in the NBA that long or that far long ago. So, I think the Detroit Falcons. Is that what you said?
That was one of the options. Yes, the Detroit Falcons.
That's the team I'm gonna go with first.
That's your final answer? Fortunately, that is incorrect. But you did use your lifeline, so you have one more chance to answer the question, a 33% chance to get this question right.
Oh, man. It's tough.
Again, your other 3 options, the Boston Celtics, the New York Knicks, and the Pittsburgh Ironmen.
I really think that the Knicks and Celtics are just kind of to throw me off. They're in there to just throw me off because you remember how good those Celtics teams were a long time ago. So I think I'll go with the wild card, Pittsburgh Ironmen.
Pittsburgh Ironmen, is that your final answer? Mr. Mickens, you got this far, but unfortunately, that's incorrect.
Oh, man.
Yes! So close. 9 out of 10 right.
Geez.
The answer to this 10th question was actually the New York Knicks.
Wow.
The New York Knicks defeated the Toronto Huskies 68-66 November 1st, 1946.
Wow.
A very old franchise. But again, Jorie Mickens, it was nice having you here. 9 out of 10. it's going to be very hard for the other two contestants to try to top you, but we'll get to the next contestant right now. Back here for WSOU Sports Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and I'm here with my next contestant, Heaven Hill. Mr. Hill, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. After seeing Mr. Mickens fail on the last question, I'm doing phenomenal. I just gotta get that. I just gotta put that in the air. It's a great feeling.
Listen, Jorie Mickens again, 9 out of the 10 questions correct, so it's a tough task for you to make that upwards climb to get it. Do you think that you can get it?
You know what? I think Jorie he set the bar pretty high, but I have confidence in my NBA and Big East basketball knowledge to at least surpass 9 out of 10.
Surpass 9 out of 10. That means you would have to get a perfect 10 out of 10. So let's start it with question number 1. Before going to the Los Angeles Lakers, what team did Anthony Davis play for? Is it the Los Angeles Clippers, the New York Knicks, the New Orleans Pelicans, or none of those teams he was drafted in LA?
Can you repeat the choices?
Of course I can. Before going to the Los Angeles Lakers, I'm going to repeat the question, then go to the answers. What team did Anthony Davis play for? The Los Angeles Clippers, the New York Knicks, the New Orleans Pelicans, or he was drafted to the Lakers?
All right, now, this is so tricky because, like, I mean, really, it's like the Clippers, like, they're known for being bad. So it's like they could have had a high pick and took him. And it's like he wasn't drafted to the Lakers because it's like, that doesn't make sense. I remember they were pretty bad early on. So it's like, and the Knicks, they haven't experienced happiness in decades. So
They experienced happiness in 1946 when they won the first NBA game. Mr. Mickens didn't get that one right.
Didn't get that one. I'm gonna say the Pelicans. I'm gonna say C, final answer.
Final answer, and that is correct. And the first one out the way.
Yeah.
Again, moving on to question number 2. Now we're getting a little bit harder, but focusing now into the Big East. How many games did Seton Hall win in conference play before they suffered their first Big East loss in the 2019?
I'm trying to focus here. You guys are throwing me off. I'm trying to focus. I'm really trying to focus. Come on. No, this is really hard because I legitimately don't know. Come on. What's the choice? Come on.
I apologize for laughing at you,
This is
Mr.
serious.
Hill. So let's get right back to the question. Again, question number 2. How many games did Seton Hall win in conference play before they suffered their first Big East loss in the 2019-2020 season? Was it 1 game, 5 games, 8 games, or 10 games?
And this is how many games they won in conference?
In conference
Before
play
they
against
lost.
conference opponents before they lost.
Well, that's... Okay, I think I got this one. Because, unfortunately, I happened to be at the game where the Pirates suffered their first loss in conference. I believe that was against Xavier. So, I'm going to say 10 games, D, final answer.
Final. That's your final answer.
Yeah. What's so funny? I'm trying. Come on, man. Where's the professionalism? That's what
Hey, audience,
what I'm
hold it down.
Who is this guy? Who is this guy?
Listen, it's Mr. Mickens in the background. He's cracking a lot of jokes, so I'm trying to be serious. I'm sorry. So you said 10, final answer. Unfortunately, that is incorrect. Seton Hall went on a 10-game winning streak, but it did not include 2 conference opponents. They defeated Maryland and defeated Florida A&M in non-conference, which led to their 10-game. So they only won 8 games in conference play.
Read it. Oh, God, read it. No, that never happened. I swear to God, I'm not leaving. I swear. All right.
Yo.
Hey, you know what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do? Yo. All right. Now,
So I'm sorry, Mr. Hill.
Hey. I'll be back.
He'll be back, but oh no, wait, you're entering a little bit too early. Heaven Hill, only 1 of 10. Did not use any of his lifelines.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get to our next contestant, Justin Morris.
Surpassed 9 out of 10.
I see how it is.
Hold on, I need to restart the recordings.
Now laugh at halftime. Okay.
I'm here with my final contestant of the evening, Justin Morris. Justin, we had our earlier 2 contestants and both ends of the spectrum. You had Jorie Mickens, he had 9 out of 10, and you had Heaven Hill, unfortunately only 1 out of 10.
All right,
so
man. I had to deal with everybody laughing while I was trying to go, man.
Hey, listen. We don't have a third camera, so they're not seeing you right now. Because I'm going to have to start flipping stuff, so...
Relax.
Okay.
Hey, you already flipped the chair, bro.
Exactly. I'm glad you put the chair. I think you might have to slide over a little bit, over here, just to make sure.
See, I didn't know where it actually was, because you feel me?
Yeah, I know. You flipped the chair, so, you know, we had
Holding
to,
the official game ball? What?
you know, we had to, so...
Shout out to Wilson Game Balls.
Yep, but, again, 9 out of 10 for Jorie Mickens, 1 out of 10 for Heaven Hill. How's your knowledge of NBA and Big East?
I mean, listen, I think it's pretty good, but both people before me said it was pretty good. Like you said, both ends of the spectrum, so I'm not sure, man. We'll see how the questions play out.
So you're
I
ready
think
to
you know
go?
what? You know what? I'm gonna say I'm gonna get the first one right.
You're gonna get the first one right. So let's get to the first question then. Question number 1: what player scored the most points in NBA history in a game in NBA history? Your options: Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Wilt Chamberlain, and LeBron James. Again,
Yes,
what
sir.
player scored the most points in a game in NBA history?
And this is not the point total, correct? Just what player it was?
What player, yes, scored the most points in an NBA game?
Repeat the options again, please.
Your options: Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Wilt Chamberlain.
Well, I think that's a pretty easy one. I remember the picture of Wilt Chamberlain holding up his famous 100, so I'm gonna have to go D, Wilt Chamberlain. Final answer.
Final answer: Wilt Chamberlain. And that is correct. You got the first answer right. Now you're tied with Heaven Hill
I said I
for
was going
second
to.
place.
I said I was going to. Man, I wish we had that third camera. We got to keep the camera on him to see.
Because this is so lame. I swear this is so lame.
Question number 2. You ready for question number 2?
Yeah, what's up?
What player
Please, man.
led the Big East in scoring during the 2019-2020 season? Your option.
Okay.
What player?
I see the agenda.
What player? Listen.
Nah, I get it completely.
What player led the Big East in scoring during the 2019-2020 season? Your options: Miles Powell, Tyshawn Alexander, Marcus Howard, or Kamar Baldwin?
This is sickening.
Yeah, I mean, Miles Powell had a great season, but in my opinion, as far as I recall from doing games and whatnot, I'm gonna have to go with C. Was it C? Marcus Howard was C, correct?
Yes, it was.
Marcus Howard, final answer.
Marcus Howard, final answer. Miles Powell was a great player, but like you said, Marcus Howard did lead the conference in scoring. 27.8 was his average before the season came to a halt. So you moved on. 2 questions correct. You're now in second place.
Second place, baby.
But you have a high steep
I swear that's
to get to first place.
Okay.
And we're going to move on. Question number 3. Who was the first MVP in the NBA? Your options: Maurice Stokes, Bob Pettit, Bill Russell, and Wilt Chamberlain.
Okay, well, first of all, I don't even know who Maurice Stokes is. So I'm gonna have to go with. I'm guessing that.
You do have lifelines if you want to use them.
Okay, Will Chamberlain and Bill Russell played closer to the '60s, which wasn't, the very beginning of the league. So I'm gonna have to go with B. Bob Pettit.
Bob Pettit. Is that your final answer?
Final answer, Bob Pettit.
And that answer is correct. Bob Pettit, the first NBA MVP, 1955 to 1956 was the season.
This is so lame. I swear.
So let's move on. Question number 4. Going back to the Big East. How many games did Providence win to end off the regular season? Providence, a great team. They won a couple of games to end off the season, but how many games did they win to end off the season? Your options: 1, 3, 6, or 8.
I'm guessing, based on the question itself, that it's not 1 or 3, but I'm going to have to use my lifeline on that one because I really don't know. So I'm going to go, 50-50?
Your 3 lifelines are 50-50, ask the audience, or second chance.
Let me go with that 50-50.
50-50. So,
Sure.
How many games did Providence win to end off the season? Your 2 options now are 3 or 6.
I'm going to go 6.
You're going to go 6 games.
Yes, sir.
Is that your final answer?
Final answer. I remember Providence whooping up on a few teams, so I'm gonna go 6.
And they were a red-hot team that did win 6 games to end off the regular season. You're moving on. You're moving up in the world.
Trying,
but
man.
again,
We
9 out of
halfway.
10 is what you have to get to.
We halfway. Shout out to the first J.
Get there. The next question. What team was the lowest seeded team to make it to the NBA Finals? Your options: the Boston Celtics, the New York Knicks, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Philadelphia 76ers.
Do I have a year or just a team, period?
Just pick the team.
Repeat the options one more time.
And I'll repeat the question for you, too.
All right, cool.
What team was the lowest seeded team to make it to the NBA Finals?
Okay.
So they made it to the NBA Finals, and their seed was low, the lowest that we've seen in NBA history. The Boston Celtics, the New York Knicks, Los Angeles Lakers, and the Philadelphia 76ers.
Let me use my lifeline. I'm gonna go ask the audience on this one.
He's going to ask the audience, so let's get to our audience shot and figure out what they
Please don't
think.
hold me, audience.
We're here with our audience shot, Heaven Hill and Jorie Mickens in the audience. Let's go ahead and let's start off with Jorie. Again, Mr. Mickens, 9 out of 10 in his questions, but Justin Morris has used the Ask the Audience lifeline. So the question once again for you, Jorie. What team was the lowest seeded team to make it to the NBA Finals? Your options: the Boston Celtics, the New York Knicks, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Philadelphia 76ers.
Well, I think think about the Celtics, and they're always in the finals, but they're always pretty high seeds. And then you think about the Sixers. They haven't been in the NBA Finals in a while, so I think it really comes down to I think I would have to go with the Knicks, because I know they were in the finals a few times, but they were never a great team, I guess. So I think if I had to pick, it would be the New York Knicks.
The New York Knicks, is that your final answer that you will be sending off to Justin?
Yeah, I think that's my final answer.
So let's go over to our next audience shot. Heaven Hill. Mr. Hill only got one question right when he was in the hot chair, but now you have the opportunity to possibly help Justin here and then ask the audience.
If
So
he wants to.
if you want to, you can also, possibly try to shake him up a little bit so he doesn't get to Jorie. But that's your choice. That's your dilemma that you're going to have to deal with. So once again, the question, what team was the lowest seeded team to make it to the NBA Finals? And the options, the Boston Celtics, the New York Knicks, Los Angeles Lakers, and Philadelphia 76ers.
All right. Oh man, it's just okay, right? I think Jorie gave you the wrong answer because he doesn't want you to reach his score of 9 out of 10. So if you pick the Knicks and you get it wrong, just know I'm telling you the answer is the Lakers. They did it in 53. So you can trust me.
Or you can trust the guy you're trying to catch.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yo, just
Is that your final answer?
He's lying.
Is that your final answer, Heaven?
Yo.
hey, yeah. So who do you believe?
So, back here, I just almost died. Back here, main shot, Justin Morris, Willner Lewis. You asked the audience, you got two different answers. You got the New York Knicks, you got the Los Angeles Lakers. So, you can use those two, you cannot use those two. So again, the question, what team was the lowest seeded team to make it to the NBA Finals? The Boston Celtics, the New York Knicks, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah, I think his answer was interesting to say the least. I feel like one of the previous questions I just answered was about Bob Pettit winning the first MVP, which was 54, 55, correct?
Yes, sir.
And he said they won in 53, so that not making a whole lot of sense.
There can be a champion and no MVP. That's what
You're right. You're correct. You're
Who's
correct.
this guy?
Let's see. I'm gonna go with. I would say the 76ers because I know they had their history with Moses Malone and them. But I feel like they were probably a pretty high seed. So I'm gonna say, even though Jorie might be trying to trick me because he has 9, I'm gonna go with Jorie's. I would say the Knicks.
Is that your final answer?
Hell, you're right. You're right. There could be a championship without an MVP. I'm not picking the Lakers though for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Knicks. Final answer.
Final answer. Jorie was not trying to trick you. That is the correct answer.
My
The
guy,
New York Knicks
my boy,
made it to the NBA Finals in the 1998-99 season as the 8th seed. Unfortunately, they lost that game, but they made it as the 8th seed.
That's not even gold.
You got out of that jam, Justin.
Yeah,
You
that's
got
right.
out of the jam. 2 more lifelines, a couple more questions to go.
That was a jam.
Try to jam him up.
Let's move to the next question.
Yo, when was the first NBA championship? What year?
I was trolling. I don't know.
That's a great question to ask our researchers.
Chris Russo.
We don't have any researchers on this right now.
Did you wink?
So let's just get to the next
That
question.
was Russo.
What player scored the most points in a single game in Big East history? Your options: Marcus Howard, Allen Iverson, Shamorie Ponds, or Doug McDermott?
Okay, that's an interesting one because all of them had some pretty big games. I'm gonna eliminate Shamorie Ponds from that ASAP because I don't think he's hit that. Dougie McBuckets, I believe, had a 50-point game at one point in his career. Marcus Howard, I know, has had at least 40 a few times. And what was that option?
Allen Iverson.
AI was a walking bucket too. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Dougie McBuckets. Doug McDermott, I feel like he's had the highest scoring game in Big East history. So I'm not sure, but that's my final answer.
Doug McDermott's your final answer?
Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, that answer is incorrect. The correct answer was Marcus Howard, who had 53 points at Creighton in 2019. So, your final tally, Justin, you got 5 out of 10 right. Those would have been your other questions if you advanced, but unfortunately, you did not.
All good. I'll take second place.
Yeah. No,
I'll
I'm
take
saying
second
I had
place.
to check first.
Nice playing.
I just. All right. Now it's my redo turn. So it's like
Unfortunately, we don't have any redo turns, and that's all the time that we have.
Oh my.
So I want to thank my contestants, Heaven Hill, Justin Morris, Jorie Mickens, our winner, for being a part of this edition of WSOU Sports Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Jorie Mickens, you now have the bragging rights. Make sure to follow us on our social media at WSOU Sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And make sure to like and subscribe to the video. But thank you. And that's about it.
That's crazy. See everyone in the back.
I'll be back.